So heading into 2018, the key question is, are you building an audience? So hello and welcome to Fresh Insights from Fresh Faces. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. And I'm joined by our resident occupancy marketing expert, Phil Smith from Link Media 360. Let's jump into the topic of the show today. So, of course, Fresh Insights from Fresh Faces is for sales and marketing leaders at senior living communities, really looking to take it to the next level. And we've covered this. We're covering this topic quite a bit, but we're deep into October. 2018 is upon us, and there are really strong key trends emerging as far as where investments are being made in marketing strategy into 2018. And I know all the conversations you had at the Smash event probably were pertaining to that. So, Phil, what were some of your key takeaways from the Smash event through your conversations?
Yeah, well, I think the one topic that really stood out, and the one question, Jeff, that really stood out was content and how do we do it, and how do we do it better? How do we do it more efficient? How do we build an audience? To really dive into that content piece, Jeff, I think is building it for an audience, right? And not just doing it for the sake of getting more social shares or building more links or just one strict kind of narrowed focus. It's really in how do we extend past what we currently have in our necessary in our kind of resident pipeline and who we touch in that 30-mile radius. How do we get outside of that target area? And really be a thought leader in the space and build a strong brand. But I think, Jeff, to kind of continue down that path on building an audience, the first thing that we have to do is understand our persona. So who are we writing this content for? And who are we really trying to connect with? Again, users are looking at more sources of information than they ever have. And really, we know by the time they actually pick the phone up, Jeff, they're already halfway through that decision-making process. So how did they get there? Well, they went to over 10 sources of information. So we want to make sure that our content is customized to that individual and really meets their needs. That persona could be the senior themselves, the adult child influencer, a caregiver, and then even more advanced strategies target things like possible or potential employees, as well as current residents and hospital referral partners. So it's, who are we communicating with, but then also how are we communicating? But I think, we want to make sure that we also understand where that persona is at in their journey. So there's, especially, again, journeys are different based on service line. So is it IL where it's, 18 months or more, or is it more needs-based like AL or memory care? And are we connecting with the right information, but also delivering that in the right channels? So are we communicating and sharing that through social media? Are we communicating that through email marketing automation? And really, what personas are more likely to use which channel? And then, obviously, again, targeting around that single persona and where they are most likely to interact and engage with our content. And then I think the last piece, though, Jeff, as far as topics that came up, the biggest one would be having the technology and integrations in place to track all of this. So that's a big deal for our communities, not only our current partners and clients, but also those that we talk to in the space, was how do we really make sure that we are tracking that information and being able to report back that we are building an audience, that our content is connecting, that we are seeing an ROI for our digital marketing or our search engine optimization. I think from a Smash takeaways perspective, just to recap, Jeff, before we get off, is one, are we building an audience, and are we effectively and consistently publishing content that connects with those personas that we're targeting? And then are we able to, and do we have the correct technologies and processes in place to track the performance of our campaigns? And then, again, really just how can we continue to do some of these things better in a space that's ever changing, getting more competitive, and how can we continue to share ideas and knowledge? So for episode 10 of Fresh Insights from Fresh Faces, That's what we have for you today, and really looking forward to seeing you guys all next week. Thank you again for your time on the show with Jeff and I. And feel free to check out more of our episodes at linkmedia360.com/FIFF. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Did we have fun? Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Again, learning about the space is what I get excited about, because there's so many new strategies. But we also did have the pleasure of sharing an offsite event with Matrix Care at the conference, and Chad and myself did a terrible rendition of Country Roads on karaoke, but it was great. It was karaoke. There was, again, the conversations continued there. We learned so much while we were there, so it was a ton of fun.